MFCN. It's going to be a fun one. I've obviously never done a remote Zoom clinic before, so apologies if there's any technical difficulties. I like to pride myself on being the tech guy, but now that I'm on the new staff, I don't feel like I am anymore. I feel like that's kind of something goes wrong, then we'll be all right. But first thing too, real quick, just want to apologize. So I put everything in here. So I was the tight ends coach at University of Idaho the past year. I just accepted a job down at University of San Diego now. That's where I'm an alum from. Real quick, just want to take a quick second, thank, Idaho football, Coach Paul Petrino, the whole staff, the players, everybody. There's, nothing but first class and awesome. I wish them nothing but the best. As you guys will see on this, a lot of stuff still says Vandals. So I got my new computer yesterday. So some of these ones on the intercut, like the marks are a hair off. So if you see me back and forth a little bit, everything's in there, but some of it didn't get intercut exactly quite right. So just kind of bear with me on that. If something doesn't make 100% sense, or if it's the video's too choppy or something, please guys just raise your hand. Coach Cam, somebody let me know, and I'll make sure that we can either I can run it in slow motion, I can do something to make sure it works out. Other than that, things we got today going for you guys is I'm going to just kind of go over some skills and drill stuff that we can apply to games. So big thing that I'm a believer in that just that I've coming up in the profession kind of got was that immediately I got told, like, okay, like this is how your indie drills better have a purpose. And I'm a firm believer in that if you can't get on there and show this is where it applies, like this is where it shows up in a game situation, you can't show it showing up in practice, something, the drill probably doesn't have a purpose in your repertoire. So everything that I try to do, that's the smell test I kind of use. If I can't prove, okay, this is exactly where this translates, and tell the players this is the why behind it, then either it needs to be revised or it needs to be out. So I thought that's kind of helped in terms of finding, kind of what sticks and what doesn't in terms of everything that we do. Obviously, our times are limited, whether it's college, whether it's high school, whatever it is, that we never have as much time with the players as we wish we did. So you got to make sure that we make our time count. And anything that we can do that way, it needs to make sure that it's working towards that week too. So I just look at it on an offensive perspective. Like I'm not going to spend, a bunch of time blocking 4-down fronts, for tight ends having to know their 4-down protection threats for a team that's an exclusive 3-down defense. Like, yeah, they need that work, but they don't need it that week per se. So just keeping things like that in there. It's not always, who can get in the most work and, who gets the most stuff, who stays the latest, who does that. It's, who's the most efficient and uses their time the best that way. So some of the things in here, just I saw my new boss, Coach Tyler Sutton, the OC at San Diego, popped in here. So a lot of this stuff that you guys will see too, this is going to be, a lot of it's going to be my Idaho terminology blended with some of the San Diego ones. Some of the things in here you guys will notice too. I mean, just there'll be things that won't change. There's like certain things or little coaching points that, we might call this might be that, something else. But big one's just going to start out, guys, with the drill portion of it. And then we'll transition into a little bit of the Y option part at the end. Question-wise, like Coach Camp said, whatever kind of works, you guys raise hand, throw something in there. If you need in a chat, if you can do that. If we need to unmute, I'm here for you guys. Obviously, this is with a smaller group, I'd rather be interactive. Make sure you get your questions answered. And, I'm an open book as long as it's nothing that's a competitive disadvantage. I don't see Chris Ball or Aaron Pflugrad or any of those guys in here right now yet. So we're pretty good in terms of stuff like that. So obviously, I want to make sure that you guys get a lot out of this. We'll get rolling, guys. So let me get this thing full screen for you. Had this on now. Okay. So you guys, everybody can see this okay, I imagine. So just kind of starting off, I mean, this is pretty basic. I'm not going to spend too much time on the stance and starts. A lot of the stuff that you guys will see on here too is offensive line drill stuff. So before I was a tight end coach, I was the offensive line graduate assistant up there for Chris Sinkovich, who's you see right here in the picture, who's the assistant head coach. He's the offensive coordinator. Awesome guy. I learned a ton of stuff from him that obviously I take with me, along with the stuff that I was fortunate to play for some pretty good guys as well at San Diego. But a lot of the stuff in here that it's had nothing to do with a shortage of staff, players. None. We had 7-8 tight ends in the room. I like spending at least 5 to 10 minutes a day with the offensive line, because the big things with the tight ends that that we at Idaho, but especially me too, that I'm a huge believer in, that I'll take with me forever, is that your tight ends need to speak the same exact language as the O-line in the run game and in protections, and we need to speak the same exact language as the receivers in the pass game, because they're Swiss Army knives. No matter what you do, you're going to have somebody who does something that's not always with you. And a lot of times as tight end coach, unless you're the special teams coordinator too, you're a box guy on game day. Like I've always been in the box. So obviously there's going to be a lot more people that are relaying stuff and talking to them directly. We need to make sure that you're not speaking your own little language. Like we're all in this together. So we need to make sure that we're speaking the same stuff. Drilling with these guys every single day too gets it where they're more comfortable with their combinations. You hear the terminology over and over again. And that's something that's I thought was invaluable, just in terms of, you say something immediately or somebody corrects them, whether it's, the head coach, it's coordinator, it's the O-line, whatever it might be, and they know exactly what you're talking about. So this is just a step progression. This is just like an inside zone one that we'll get running. Not a big believer in the whole duck walk. One of the new terms I heard that I enjoy is ducks are soft. So we don't want to say anything like that. This is called a power walk. Power run will be more of an outside zone thing. Now you can see right here that the shoulder load on the first step, we're taking about a 4 to 6 inch step, cocking the arms back. We want to be getting our second step in the ground, making contact. So we want to get 2 steps in the ground before we end up contact. What we don't want to have happen is long overextended strides, end up reaching out here, fall on our face. So this is just kind of shortening up the footwork, make sure that we're in a good spot there. Now we can see sorry, I keep pointing at my screen and you can't see. So here, right here, we'll see the second step kind of hang and delayed. Like I'd say don't hang the second step. Like he's behind the other guys on that with the O-line. And then they got to keep that good demeanor. And here's two at the end, like right here, you can see both of them too. They're flat backed, neck in, head up, taking that step. This is Dalton Cash's Pinnacle High School grad right there. But little long that we'd like for this first one. But then the thing I do like is he's driving like an athlete. His arms are driving like an athlete. So compared to obviously you get here, nobody's going to run like this in space. We don't want to have guys who are just sitting there, just waddling around. So get that athletic feeling, make it look like be an athlete that they are. Then we'll do it at a 2-point stance. So a lot of things that I've been familiar with. Now this might change based on your scheme, based on what you do, would be if you're a pistol or in the gun would be in 2-point stances, matching the tackles, under center being a 3-point. Obviously you could do whatever fits you. That's why we do it both ways for these guys. They would mirror the tackles in terms of whatever they would end up doing. So as you can see right here, some of these, that's like this 4-point extension right here. This is a drill. I like to try to do this every day. Now the video of it I don't have in there is I preferred personally to do this with a guy holding a bag. So instead of it being on the sled, you have a bag holder. It's still the same exact setup right here. So what you want to be is about an arm's length from the bag. You want your toes tucked underneath your knees, you want your toes tucked in the ground with your knees 4 points. So your 4 points right here is your 1, 2, 3, 4. Arms are already back loaded. This is like you already took one step. What this is teaching guys, they need to unlock their hips, and put your pelvis on the bag. Obviously there's some other ways to say it. We're on camera. It's not how I choose to say it, but you guys understand. Just whatever the visual might be for the guys is getting this region right here onto the bag, making contact. A lot of guys' biggest issue, including mine as a young player, even throughout high school and early in college, was getting to unlock my hips and take all that power, that posterior chain where you got all your power, those knees to your pecs, where guys leave that behind. They're either going to get tossed, they're not going to have enough oomph behind them using their butt. This forces these guys to do this. The reason that I personally like it on the bag better, and I wish I had the video of it, is it forces guys to unlock everything they have. And a coaching point is don't catch yourself. You want guys to shoot, unlock, and land on their chest. Where this one, you'll see them lock it all out. Like you see all these guys right here, you can see the hips. If the bag wasn't here, they would fall on their chest. That's what we want to see right here. Their toes are all tucked in the ground. Then it'd be reset. When you're on the sled, you can reset it. When you're on the bags, we would usually just end up taking it where you do about 2 to 3 times. Obviously, the bag holder's got to come back. The bag holder is the guy it gives enough resistance, but the guy should be able to move him. So in terms of things that we're looking at, we don't want to have something that the guy can't move him. So I'll show you a reason here in a second why I don't like having it on a different version of the sled. So sorry, I took the clip out. So what there is on this too is I personally wouldn't do this on a sled in open field. So what I mean by that is like we were fortunate here inside the dome that we could put this against the wall so it wouldn't move. I know when I was a player at USD and the sled's still probably the same as against a wall. This way, at least it stops it. When we end up having this thing in open field, what will happen is all these guys, no matter who you are, like Division I offensive linemen or, you know, high school, whatever it might be, you're not going to have enough oomph from all 5 guys to end up unlocking and rolling where they can shoot everything they have and land flat. So if you're in that, I would suggest doing it on your bags. If you want to do it on a sled, I would put it against something or make sure there's enough guys here where the thing can't move and they can lock it out. The next progression of this would be fit and finish. What fit and finish is really teaching you here is to roll over that front knee. So this is that we already took 2 steps. So if you can see each simulation now here, this is 2 steps have been in the ground. So we've ended up taking our first step. Our second step, we've ended up down. We have our 3 points of contact. So our helmet, our 2 hands right here, and then it's going to be roll over that front knee, because what do a lot of young guys want to do? They always want to end up going and stepping back to go forward. Like, we need to eliminate that. Everything needs to go forward, play on their side of the line of scrimmage. So what we can end up doing with this on the sled is guys are blocking their foot to force it where they can't step back. Once again, I wish I had video of this one, but I don't. I prefer this on an actual bag too, forcing the bag holder, your defender, to fight across his face. And I'll show you some game clips simulating why. But what this ends up doing too is it forces these guys to roll over that front knee. You talk about your mental weight. So all their weight should be on this. The way I would say it is that if the sled wasn't here, they should have so much weight forward, they should fall over. If they're on a bag holder, they should go to their landmark, is how I would usually set it, would be, because you can have a little more, you can play with the landmarks and stuff a little more when you have a guy holding a bag. And I would put them on your landmark. So you've already, you've stepped to success. So you've taken your 2 steps, you got to your landmark, you need to go from there. Then it's fighting to keep your position, fight pressure with pressure. So you can see through here. And just go the other way. Now you can even see through here, this guy was a CFL. He was a 1st-round draft pick in the CFL. He's a big 6'9" Canadian kid named Mason Woods. Now we go in slow motion. You can see everything's rolling right here over that front knee. There's no false steps. All that weight and power goes and gets that step in the ground. So this is right here. This one is okay to do, I think, in open field. Now they're going to do a seat roll out of it. I personally wouldn't do that. I have nothing against it. It wasn't my call. But I just, in terms of if I was in high school, I wouldn't want the one kid who's not paying attention in the back of the line to end up going the wrong way and hurting somebody. Where this one, we don't really do this anymore. This is from 2016 or 2017. We don't really seat roll out of it too much anymore. It's just forcing guys to get up off the ground and go. I think that in itself is a really good way to do it, and then have somebody there to finish through. But what that's ended up doing is getting to where they're out, then on the whistle, bam. So and I can find too, so the video I've always used, so I didn't get that part of my indie drills filmed, like I said, with the bag. I have it from when I was a player. You can watch a big, stiff, overweight offensive lineman doing it. But there's some really good video of that Jim Jackson, who's at UMass now, was my offensive line coach my last 2 years, and that's where I stole that version of it from him. Like, if you guys see stuff in here, I didn't invent it. Like, I've been slowly picking my favorite things that I've stolen from people, because it's a copycat game. If I invented something, then I would tell you, but everything in here is just, taking it from what we found it that way. But I do have that video, especially now that I'm back and I'm on the San Diego server. So if anybody wants to see some of that too, just send me a message, ask afterwards. I'll gladly get that to you. I have no problem with that. So we're going to watch here. This is Connor Whitney. He was a sophomore. He was our starting Y at Idaho this past year. This will be fit and finish, the application in place. So you guys are going to see, this is the screenshot. It's going to go to a different angle. So I'll make sure we get you a walk through it and you guys will see him, but it's going to be the same clip. He's going to come in motion through here. I don't want to skip too far. So what you want to see through here is going to be rolling over that front knee. So he gets in this position right here. So with the bag holder, what would happen, his hat would be right here, where you guys can see my mouse. His hat would be right here. His face would be in it. Obviously, you're not going to get that exact perfect fit in a game all the time. So what he's going to do is he's going to press the landmark, which is going to be fighting right here, which this is a perimeter play. So we'd be saying we're going to be going for that, this far number, I guess. So his armpit to this number. He's going to roll. He's going to keep pressing vertical. We don't want to just go lateral. We want to go vertical into it and then end up fighting pressure with pressure, trying to get our hat to this side to get ourselves the perimeter here. So this would be an outside, zone version, I guess, perimeter where your landmarks are slightly wider. Inside zone wise, we would just set it, at your midline, your near number, however you'd want to do it. But you'll see right here, he's going to keep going. You'll see the finish on it that it forces guys to do. It forces them to unlock their hips, it forces them to roll and keep their feet active and accelerate through the contact. What you'll see a lot of times with this is, now he redirects. This one's a little tougher one, but you can see, so he's out leveraged right here. This is what the drill will simulate with guys having to accelerate their feet and get going to finish stuff out. And Connor Whitney played last season probably about 218 pounds. So, I mean, he'll be a 235 pounder this year. So that extra weight will be a little difference for him. I'm excited to see, from a distance what's happening. But now we end up getting that bad hand placement, which obviously tight end coach isn't a huge fan of, but the thing we're looking at here is the finish. So he fights to get his hat to the landmark right here. So he's in good spot. So now he's out leverage, he's locked out, accelerate those feet, drive, finish. That's going to be the coaching point. So just consistently kind of having that clock in your head, drive, finish. So guys end up knowing when it's time, kind of that mental clock of when it's time to go. And that would time out exactly right. So here's another one right here. This is against Penn State. So this is the first game of last year. All right, so he's behind it. Accelerate your feet. Get back in winning spot. Now this is right here. About spot on how the drill is going to end up working out. Drive your legs. Press the landmark. You guys can see he's not swinging his ass in the hole. We don't want any hop and swing and position block guys. It's going to be press the landmark. Press the landmark. And you can see it naturally gets him turned into the position he needs to be. All right, let me get, this one's all a little jumpy. Hold on here, sorry. Let's see. One second here, guys. All right. We're watching these right here. 47, when you can see I'll slow-mo it, the contact. So he's at the landmark right here. Accelerate your feet. Drive, finish. Even if you're behind it, so what it's forcing these guys to do, you can see is they're still fighting like hell with their feet to keep this thing going in a positive direction, trying to press it. So even if you end up getting out leverage, what at least force these guys to do is try and press it vertical, even if they're behind it a hair. Either they can run them by him, they can get enough of him that forces him upfield, even if this guy reaches out, now we end up calling it, the way I've learned it is small ball. So you get those smaller offensive linemen, a lot of times they get their knockdowns with guys that are reaching out. You're not just going to usually take a guy straight off the ball unless they're extremely powerful and take them and put them just straight down in front of you. So a lot of times those knockdowns come from guys reaching out to grab it. So you end up getting there, accelerating your feet. When this guy's trying to reach and grab the ball carrier, we're still in the spot that we can unlock, roll, put him on the ground. Now, all right, hang on. Get you to another little clip here. So I think we should be pretty good on that part. Here's a good little look at it. So flush 32, landmark right here. Now if he gets stalemated for a second here, and you'll see get back, accelerate the feet, finish him. Have a little juice behind it. And then I'll talk about a little bit about that at the end in terms of breeding competition in the room, which I think is vital to getting guys to get those little extra things. All right, so now we're out of it. So just hang on here, guys. I'll get you the next slide. All right, so this is called a base drive, dip strike, drive drill. So pretty much what this is simulating here is we're going to simulate first level and second level contact in one. So this base drive part of it is just considered, your man, base, whatever you guys want to say, just, inside zone, out, whatever it might be, to see one-on-one, you're against him. So you can change the angles of the boards on these, however you'd want to do it. We'll start out in the shoot. So you can see this one's pretty much, it's a vertical. We're going to take a 4 to 6 inch lead step, get a second step in the ground, drive the defender off the board. And then we'll a lot of times have a red shoot that's back here with a linebacker. So it's simulating just getting both contacts. So we're getting here, then sinking our hips and getting underneath. I'll show you guys the diagrams of these in a sec. Now you can see right here, let's see if he gets him in there. One, see how he's a hair before that second? That's not what we want. See how he's overextended right here? Now this is an early in camp deal. He gets back into good position, playing on his insteps. But this was one of the things of him is he's an extremely powerful kid. This kid's name is Logan Kendall. He's about 265 pounds, was getting all this channeled, getting his pads down and getting him to play underneath himself where he's not out of his base. And this was early in the year. I thought we did a pretty good job of getting that part done by the end. You'll see some of the clips showing up. This is actually pretty good load strike, drive it. Now he's same thing. We want to get this defender. You want to have these guys a little farther back than we had him right here, that you can see right here when we're dumping this guy off the board, that we end up getting where he's just right there on him now. Let's see. So this is another version of it here, just with shields. You can see another camera, look at it, that we dip these guys down through here. And then just sink their hips, get underneath it. Forcing guys to change their level. So pretty much when it's, you know, it's getting two things in one. Like you're not going to, what I don't want you guys to think here, this isn't telling guys, okay, block one guy, then go, you know, block the other. You're not going to just drop your base drive guy to go block a linebacker. It's just working two different things in one to mix up the look. So the why behind this one is just kind of working, okay, here's our first level block. Okay, now we're getting in the same rep, getting our block on the second level. So what we want to see here, once they dump them, so that's why we're having them where they're just dumping the guys. They'll all, each way, these guys are all going to the right. Like, so they all know, like, say, okay, these guys are all going here. Now it's going to be getting back, coming to balance. You guys will see right here, starting to sink their hips, widen their base, shorten their stride, dip, strike, drive, get underneath them on these linebackers. Now the linebackers are just going to be sitting ducks right here. Like this is an offensive drill. We have other ones where we'll force them to have to block linebackers in space, but you guys kind of get a handle on that. So we'll watch 32 here. Watch him right here. So you can see right here, we're going to that near number. He's 2 in the ground. Now he gets stood up a hair, but it's the main thing is just watching the landmark here. So this is just at a little wider angle. So he's 1, 2 in the ground. So that's a big 1, 2 in the ground before making contact, which is exactly what all these are doing. 2 steps in the ground, make contact, drive and accelerate. Here's a little closer angle. And it's still, all right. So here's another one that's even off the ball a hair. So this is still be considered a bitch trap, just with a wider angle. So something to keep in mind, just the wider the angle, the deeper the drop, the tighter the landmark. So what we're saying with that is the wider the angle of the defender, the deeper the drop I gotta take with this first step and the tighter my landmark becomes. Now he's this far out here. If it's outside, yeah, we're not gonna go reach him here. We're not going to get to the midline. We're probably going to get to this near armpit. So it's just going to be tightening up your landmark so these guys can't play underneath you. It's knowing, do I have help? Don't get beat away from my help. So if I don't have help on this, obviously this guy fundamentally has a two-way go that I have to stop. Now, if this is a combo, say we end up having like a Y and a T, these two guys that combo together, we'd end up getting in a spot, obviously, where it's a little bit different and he knows that he could be a hair wider, that he's protected by this guy. So where we're at on that stuff right there, you can see the steps. It's coming to balance, gets to a spot, striking, accelerate. Okay. All right. So this one goes to my next slide's tucked in here. All right, so in terms of drill wise, I didn't put any of the film exactly on this, but it's in the same thing as the base drives. This just your down block looks, because I know a lot of people, are pin and pull power teams. The way that this still applies is it's done at the same thing. Initially, you can teach it with boards. The coaching points for the down blocks that I like to teach is your first step is going to go down the crotch of the guy. Your second step is going to go vertical. You're going to put your face on the ear hole. And we're going to expect every time you're trying to get this guy pinned. So like we're trying to win this C gap here. So what's this guy going to do when he realizes that he's pinned? He's going to try and play over the top. So be ready for him to fight across your face. So first step down the crotch, second step vertical, put your face on the ear hole, press this landmark, expecting this guy to play over the top. So it comes back to your fit and finish drill, comes back into the equation too. So same thing's going to happen here. He's going to be down on this guy. First step's down the crotch. Here, I'll show you. I'll let it run first. Second step vertical, face on the ear hole. You can see the guy trying to play across. So we break this thing down. First step down the crotch, second step vertical, face on the ear hole, press the landmark. Guys end up trying to play vertical. That's pressing the landmark and fighting pressure with pressure. This guy ends up here, then he tries to spin back. So one way that you could simulate this as well would be to have whoever's servicing your guys on this side of it is you're going to have him have contact for a few steps and have him try to spin back towards it. So these guys get the feeling of having to stop to spin. That's one way to do it. Give you one more here, we'll move on to something else. So this one would be just kind of a collect, down block to a collect type thing where this guy's almost a head up. You know he's a C-gap player. And so it's just still going to be tighten up this first step, put your hat on the V, and then take him in there. So in one of these types of pin and pull schemes, we know we got to win this C-gap. It's going to be force him in there. And then what's he try to do? He tries to play back over the top. We just get enough to get him through. Same thing through here. So here's your head up technique, whatever you'd want to call them, whether you're 6, you're 8, your head up tight end, whatever it might be. And the game plan all week said we knew he was going to be a C-gap player. So a lot of times tight ends would have the rules between an inside shade, a head up, or an outside shade, kind of what their footwork would be and what they would do based on the scheme. Like in this one, it'd be a quick jab. Usually our base rule would have been a quick jab with that outside foot, be ready to take him down. Now when the game plan would tell you with that head up technique can obviously be different if guys are hat readers, if guys are just gap players, kind of whatever that your week to week might be. So this week we treated it as that we're going to take our same inside shade footwork based on knowing what he's going to do. Hat via the neck to the ear hole right here, takes him down. So, all right. So real quick before I move on, something else. Is there any questions on any of that stuff real quick? I think, okay. So I don't see anything through there. Okay, guys. So right here's a little bit I know a lot of guys are, big split zone, run some naked, some sneak type stuff. Way to drill this. This is a lot of the stuff that ends up being pretty easy to drill and to get the looks. You don't need a lot of guys to do it. Landmarks is the most important thing, I believe, here is understanding on saying this is a kick out is going to be when we're going split flow. We're believers that you're going to end up you're aiming for that inside leg of the opposite guard. So I just say inside leg of the guard, but I want to make sure that's clear for you guys. So like you're thinking your tackle, your guard, your center, your right guard, your right tackle. So yes, this is close. In terms of to simulate game speed, guys, I'll cheat this guy down in a lot of these so they're making the contact quicker, because if we put this way out here for this guy, they're going to run forever and it's not going to be as realistic of look in terms of actual game speed. So just so you know, yes, this is tighter than a normal alignment would be. This is done on purpose. I would, once you get the hang of it, to try and simulate these, because as much as we all try, as we all know, we're not always going to get that same speed look. So I would suggesting I'm doing this board right here, this T board, the little orange one, is to make sure that he's taking a positive first step. That was an issue that as a group we had last year, was making sure we weren't stepping under ourselves on this. So positive first step, that first toe should be pointed to that inside leg of the guard, and they can hug this right here. So the coaching points would be, I say, dollar bills, pull a dollar bill out of the ass track, everybody you pass. So that makes keeps pretty much, you're pretty much dragging, your hand across them, where you could pull a dollar bill out of each one. You should be $5 richer by the end of the line. So we end up taking that first step, hugs that. We want to be hat in the hole, inside out, kick it. Now, I know in high school, there's no cutting on those. So we end up getting to some of that stuff where here, obviously we're staying up. The way we'd end up taking this next, there's obviously different ways. This is from some fullback from home type stuff where they still got to get into the line. This was more of a walkthrough one at the time. So by tempo, you can see, but he's still fighting right here. You can see his hat placement is huge on getting inside out. Some of the game clips in action right here. So if we watch 32, get into the line right here. Something shows up. This is why guys want to be tight in there. So you can see right here, he's looking right here is that inside leg of the guard. Now, we'll ream any color that shows up. So he sees that right here. He's going to take that shot, and he gets the guy through. And then, so when this is going on in practice, or whether, because you guys are doing this during the week and somebody gets knocked back, which I know can be an issue, just tell the tight ends, tell the fullback, however you want to phrase them, like, trust your track. Like, the way it would always be is these 5 are going to get it done on Saturday. So if they're not, Coach Sink was going to find somebody new. Trust your track, because in the whole week, we don't want to get where they're in bad habits and start being in the backfield, because what happens when live bullets start flying? Guys are usually a hair short on landmarks. Guys end up going a little bit farther back, whatever it might be. So we're going to get in that spot right here, inside out, and then they're able to ream color when they see stuff like that happen. It ends up going one wider when you want to run it too tight, when you want to have another man on the backside here. So the other ones you guys saw was just like an 11 personnel look when we ended up just having tackle as the end man. Now, when we end up adding a tight end to the backside too, now we just go inside leg of the tackle. It's just another way for where it's going to hit, because it's going to hit one gap wider, but they still end up hugging tight. Now, the way they gain an extra hat on this, guys, would be you want to end up staying on the train tracks. So stay on your track. If this guy's a way upfield, cut to keep type guy, but he doesn't hang down the line, like he's way upfield, just turn up. Like, you don't need to go chase him. Like, he's already taken himself out of the play. Turn right up, look inside out for a scraping linebacker. So that way we end up gaining an extra hat. And this look, and you'll see he ends up going, looks second right here, or this guy plays across and gets collected. You can see the hand right here is dragging too. Inside out, get the kick. Now, anything that's like and this one right here is the same thing. Now he gets stood up a hair, but he still gets the edge. Now that's the other one. If you get a wrong arm or a log team, however you want to say it too, that's fine. You feel it and you can't kick him out. We want to kick if we can and win that C gap. If not, you just end up throwing that arm, obviously, your back with your shoulder in the backfield to shoulder, put him in the pile. Guys will read it and get around you, which we end up getting them around. Now, when you're doing some like split zone, like keep stuff, like however you want to say it, your zone read, then your landmark would automatically on this stuff become inside leg of the tackle, even no matter what. So for when you're going to bluff that end and turn around, looking to block for the quarterback, then your just landmark would become that inside leg of the tackle. And that would be the same when we're running our sneaks too. So trying to keep guys tight to the line. I'm trying to get to some of these. Here's a pretty good look at it. This guy's way upfield right here. Like that mesh charger that's way up. Just turn right up, look inside out, puts this guy back on the tackle, and now we get this back out. Compared to if we end up chasing that other guy, this is probably a 3-yard gain instead of a 10, 12-yard gain. Another look at it right here. And just by staying on the track keeps it the same way. Even though this guy's playing as a wrong arm player, it keeps it where we're tight and can get out. So let's see here. All right. See where we're at here. I want to make sure I have enough time for you guys. So in terms of linebacker, this is one that I think everybody can incorporate in terms of, let me get to the sled part of it. This linebacker dip strike drive. So dip strike drive is just back to that sink your hips, widen your base, shorten your stride. And we'll end up doing this look on the sled. So what this is for, so we're putting guys at about 3 to 5 yards initially starting out here. Every other bag, so what you're going to see show up, actually I got a good diagram of it I can show you. So let me zoom in a little bit for you here. So right here, the 5-man sled, like you have players starting on either the right or the left side, and the purpose is just simulate breaking down the second level, running through the contact, dipping your hips, striking and driving a linebacker in the run game. So the big coaching point on this is don't prop your feet. Well, propping your feet means, what do guys want to do when they get in space? They want to hop into it. No, you want to keep feet going active and then accelerate through the contact. And guys prop, that's when linebackers will take you, shed you, lose you. So we start going with this right here. Every other one, they'll just take a little backup. You'll see into this next one. You don't want to let them go more than 3 to 5 yards. Like I'd say 3 at the most, just because you don't want it where it's unrealistic. They're not going to get a 5-yard free climb every single time through here. So they'll all go in a line through here, and then they'll go back the other way. As you can see right here, run through contact is bolded and not to prop your feet. So let me get back to the film. So you can see, even though right here, he sticks those hands out for a second longer, he still ends up going. Like, that's what we don't want to have happen. See how he hops into it? He's accelerating his feet through it. That was his biggest issue. Once we got that fixed, it really helped him out. But you can see that's not how to do it. Like, he's still trying to get him in through there. Even if it's a hair slower, this is exactly what you want it to look like right here, 32. Driving through it right here. Just missiling through the bag. Right here. Right here, Hayden Hatton, Saguaro High School. And getting him into this right here, you can see he's doing all the techniques we coach right here. He's loading his arms. He's driving through the bag, through the contact. Now that's what happens too if they don't get low enough. They want to try and lift this thing right away. They obviously can't. And this kid right here, this was his second year playing football. We took him out of Richland High School. This kid was a basketball player. This was still early in camp. You watch him do it now, he looks like these guys. But you can see right here what happens when guys leave their hips behind. So you can see all this types of stuff. Going back, it's a pretty good way of looking at it. That's pretty good. So this is one that I think our offensive line does, our tight ends do. I'll be incorporating this at San Diego as well. Now, what it forces here is when they dip, strike, and drive on the second level, force them to get their pads down. And obviously when they run through those feet through the contact, keep those feet active, they're not going to get tossed. So get you this end zone angle. See if we got a closer one. And then I'll get into this, I'll get into the Y option install for you guys here in a second. So you can see right here, this is just like coming to bounce on the sled. Trying to fight your feet through the contact, dipping, trying to get lower than his, back and accelerate. So that's just one way that thing's showing up for you there. Before we move on to that, one thing that I think has been huge on trying to see guys put guys on the ground is breeding competition in the room. So what we ended up doing is this is hanging in the position room. So VB was Vandal Block. So whatever you might name it, whether it's knockdown, pancake, whatever you might want to be, have their pictures, make it look nice where it's on the wall, obviously each game, and we're charting exactly what they do. And then they got a sticker. These are the stickers that are on the back of the helmets here that we're end up charting exactly what they had. Now, ball yards is your yards after catch that you'd end up getting. And I had a formula for those. So you have your guys who, a lot of times in your rooms, you're going to have guys who aren't, stick your face in there, guys are going to be a little more your receiver. You want where they have a chance to win it too. So we ended up doing for every 4 yards after catch, it counted as like 1. So you have a guy who has a big game with that, you're going to be in good shape. Now you can see 32 right here. Him and 12 are best friends and roommates, and they were our 2 starters, and they both go at it week to week. And the guy who wins it gets to keep the board. So this is hanging in their house, and he has to look at it, and they loved it. So I'm a huge believer in the whole competition part of it, that when you try to get these guys at the end of it, that at the end of the play, just obviously you should be 6-second players fighting because you want to be good. You want to do what you're going to do. But just that little extra incentive too, winning the board, getting those things on here, getting charted for it. I thought helped guys where they ended up coming in. They wanted to come in on Sunday mornings and see the new charts. They want to see who won the board from the night before. So that part was really good. And I like where it looks clean. It looks nice. And then guys can look back, and we can also see, even referencing, who did what each week. But this template, obviously I just did this in Excel with a little bit of Photoshop. You guys need some help with something like that, I'd gladly help you. But moving on that. So right here's a little bit of the Y option stuff for you guys. So big thing I just want to first say too is I want to shout out our quarterback coach at Idaho, Charlie Molnar, who put this tape together. So I didn't put all this thing together through here. He spent a bunch of time. I'm not going to steal his thunder, do the whole thing. I'm going to go with little parts of this here. because he busted his butt on this. This is very, very detailed. I can give you the details on pretty much everything. I don't want to give every single thing away. If there's something you need some more questions on, something, just private message me or something. I'll gladly help you guys out. But the big thing with the Y option is we want to create the mismatch. We want to have an athletic tight end versus the Mike linebacker. And on the flip side, if they end up subbing an athletic Mike to kind of combat it, then we're just going to end up pounding them with a strong side run game. So you kind of get your kill two birds with one stone on that. You'll see on the play on the diagram, it's going to be labeled 1-to-1 to 3 with the tight end, the running back, and the slot receiver. So 1-to-1 saying like they're both the first option. However, if you'd want to phrase it differently, that would be on you. That's how it's been phrased, as 1-to-1 to 3. And then the second read, so after 1 and 2, or 1 and 1 aren't here, quarterback can pop back and go to 3, which would be your 10-yard out. And then we'll cover this here in a second. And VRO is just vertical run option for the quarterback. You actually get a lot of really good scramble lanes on stuff like this. So for the tight ends, what you're going to end up doing here is we're drilling the techniques and fundamentals of the option route, which it's going to be 10 yards, running off the first linebacker inside of your alignment. We're going to simulate it versus zone, versus man, versus a cloud look. And then we'll also drill some hot stuff too. The drill that would be the best thing for teaching this thing is a 3-cone drill. So the drill isn't filmed on this. I didn't put the film on here. So with the 3 cones is setting it up is the first cone ends up being your linebacker's alignment. So I guess I could do I'll chalk this for you real quick. So then at the top. So like it's even like cones, it's 3 little cones through here. So if they were starting right here at this one, this would be your linebacker. So he's going to stem in. He's trying to attack. He wants to attack that near shoulder half a man. We want to get this guy to open his hips. And then the cone at the top is getting you to about 10 yards where you got to make your decision. So we end up getting where you have the middle. But the way we say it too is if you want to get technical, he can hook in, he can hook out, he can run in, he can run out. He has the whole field to work with to get open and win. This is for you to go win. So this way we change in the alignment of that linebacker because it changes on where this guy's going to have to go and who he has to run it off of. Because you're going to have to, whether it's zone or man, you're still going to have to end up beating somebody, whether it's passing it off or it's man-to-man. So by figuring out where that's going to be each time, it's never the perfect, okay, this is your always exact landmark. Sometimes it's cheated over here. Other times we'll have to put it where the cone's just right over top of him, or it'd be the coach, it'd be me with a bag where they got to go and dip and rip through that guy to end up getting the contact and then go up to say whatever it might be. There's different ways to look at who you're going to run it off of. And then Dolphin, we might have time to get into that. For the running backs, called it the bend route. It's going to look, it's a lot more like an arrow shoot, however you might label it. They're going to work the same thing. They're going to work it versus zone, man, and cloud. And then Texas is just an angle route of just a variation of depending on how they're playing it. With your wide receivers here, you're going to be getting outside option. So your number 3, your 1-1, your 3, he's going to end up being a 10-yard outside option. So that's hook out, breakout. And then the outside receivers are both running protect. So MORs, protect goes, however you want to say it. And then for alert for the whole shot versus a cover 2 look or a quarter half. Cub, we don't need to get into that part. And then they also, receivers can drill this. The option route too. So this isn't something you're going to be able to run with 2x2 detached. Obviously, I mean, there's things that are exactly, pretty much like that, your stick, your choice, however you might phrase it. But this isn't attached tight end or a compressed formation play, just because you're going to need to be able to run it off that first guy. You want to run it off the guy in the box with that in the back's alignment. Quarterbacks, in terms of, I won't talk about this as much. This is more of obviously Coach Molnar's thing. But in terms of drilling, you guys will have different drills you do, but drilling the 1-to-1. So in terms of, that'd be having a guy the back and tight end where you're going, popping backs would be like your quarter half look. This you're probably not getting your primary options because the mic's most likely going to be working the boundary. So you're going to be popping back to your 3, and then hots would be, whether it's a blitz skelly look or we'll end up sending 2 guys or 1 guy depending on where you're hot, and then escapes would be, just wherever they're breaking down the pocket. Quarterback coaches, you can have what you're going to do. What we're ended up doing with this is we end up having, your one-on-ones that you're going to have for our half skelly looks. So your 7-on-7s, 2-on-2s, your hot drill, blitz, skelly, then your teams, then BP, your blitz pickup looks for it. I'm going to end up getting rolling here. Oh, there we go. So as you guys can see through here, You have your 10 yards. You can see it at a slight angle. And then just this is the way of, he has kind of everything he can do right here. And the 1 and the 1. And then right here, this ends up, he's going to be +2 for the numbers. That's your protect. This can also be run out of a 3x1 as well. Based on this quarterback's drop, it's going to be a big 3. And you're reading horizontal inside out. Big thing right here is you can see right here. So you want to isolate the Y, push your first linebacker inside, and then you're controlling your overlaps with this bend route right here. And your outside option over here. So with your quarter half look, when he ends up, you get that Mike who also works with the boundary, most likely your options right here with that cloud and your hook curl. So if you're going to be taken, these two are going to be gone. So be ready to pop back to vertical run. So obviously he works here, he's here. This is covered. You're going to get a pretty big void right here to be able to take off and run. Some of our biggest scrambles the past 2 years were on this exact play that was called. There was a lot of them that ended up in the last game against NAU that you'd see some that showed up here. And then just based on who he's holding here in coverage, you're looking at, for one high zone, you just keep holding the mic, one high man, just keying the whole player, right? And the one high's middle of the versus zone, middle of the 3, your Sam Mike Will. And then in your quarter half look, it's still the mic. And then here's your movement key of who you're looking at. So your hook defender, middle of the 3, your mic, and then your progression. So in one high zone, ultimately you're thinking your wide, your running back, and one high man, if they're locked on each other. So obviously if you have your Will to the boundary here, locked on your running back, and you have your Mike locked on here, you're thinking your running back to your Y. And then if they're banjo and it's a banjo swap, buddy it, however you want to say it, then we're end up thinking your Y because he's going to get that pick through there. Other things too, it's your diagram wise, you can see through here, this is obviously attached. It's how we'd be looking at it. The back's alignment's more of your scat alignment. Protection I won't get too much into because you each have what you're going to do. This is going to be a 5-man protection though, because you got to get your running back out. You can't run this play without getting your back out. So here's just your half line looks right here. So you can see right here, he's going to stem in, attack half the man, stick his foot in the ground, come downhill. So this is a pretty good job isolating him, beating him. There's a zone, then tight turn, get north and south. What we can't have happen here is you cannot drift and get a ball pick. So you're going to have to work different little things. You can see right here, he attacks him, gets him to open those hips, sticks his foot in the ground, comes downhill. Now in this look right here, you're going to say, well, isn't this guy inside of him? We understand based on the look of the defense. So safety's high right here. We're thinking most likely too high look. He ends up corners out here. He has to take the back. He's going to have the tight end. The tight ends should know this when he's this close to him. Like, is he a foot inside of him? Yes. Is that his guy? No. So he's still going to see him stem in to run it off this mic on this look. And then you can see right here, that's where the alert to that whole shot could be here based on where this mic works. Now they both kind of drop it, works itself out. You get some 2-on-2 looks into it. So now we're just going, obviously, these two versus these two. Stemming in, pressure break it, downhill. So you can see with all these guys, they've all been coming downhill once they end up attacking it. They've all done something slightly different. So all these ones are just them breaking out. You'll see too, like depending on how he plays, you can wrap him, you can break in, you can sit down. There'll be a couple of game clips here in a sec, you'll see. But then tight turn. And it's understanding your personnel kind of too, what your guys' strengths are. Like when 32 goes, this isn't a huge play. He's athletic, but he's not when you're thinking athletic tight end like that. So he's going to be a lot more of a pressure break, throw your wing, stick your foot, pressure break downhill from him instead of somebody who might, shake, swipe him, whatever it might be. Like Connor right here is a little more athletic, stemming in half a man, stick his foot in the ground. You can see right here, huge, stick your foot in the ground, come downhill. Now here's a way too with the receiver in the compressed set right here. They can do the same exact thing. And you can see right here, he freezes him, gets him to open it, fakes in, gets himself separation. Another look at it. Now they're locked right here. This is most likely when you're going to get this like bear defender, however you want to, bear lock clamp guy, however it is. Probably not going to get a lot. This isn't the best look to run it to get the ball to the Y. this would be the worst. Like you could run this against every coverage. I wouldn't call it versus this expecting him to do this. Because one thing in this look right here is he has the whole field, but we're not telling him on this base call to take it over the top. It's not your true choice in out over the top. So you could call something obviously to get that, but we're not thinking here, beat him off the line and take this thing vertical when we're calling this play. And you can see it forced these guys. They're still working their releases based on his alignment right here. He has the whole field to work. Now, this is that Texas look, that angle route. So that's why he ends up sticking instead of breaking out through here. Or breaking in, I apologize. So we'll get some game stuff for you here. Once again, not our most athletic guy, and still it works its way out. So here's just your Skelly look. Stem in, push up. And there's your wrap look right here. So this is the one talking about wrapping this guy. Make sure when you wrap him, we're just not sitting right here. You're actually coming back, wrapping him downhill. And be ready, tight turn, know where you left him based on where he works. So if you won't do it in practice, you won't do it in a game. These are something that if you're going to run this, we get a lot of practice reps out of this. Now right here, he ends up pushing up. Obviously, they both squeeze to him. But he also, see how he's drifting up the field? Now they're both, he works to the boundary. With this guy working to the boundary, obviously, this is when you're going to end up popping back. This right here this is Caden Ellis, plays for this. He was a 7th rounder for the Saints. He was a linebacker. He'd play him at tight end a little bit. You can see the athleticism right here. He gets there, freezes him, knows who he's running it off of downhill, then win. So keep running. You get here, you feel him trailing, you still keep running. Like that's why we're ultimately thinking outside option on this right here is we're thinking bring this guy with you to get more space for the Y to have the whole field. So if you're teaching this, you say the Y has the whole field to work. This is his to get open. He doesn't have any limitations of tackle box to tackle box, nothing like that. Get you a little game clip here. We don't need to look at Hots right now. Hang on here. It's bugging out on me. So yeah, there's your blitz pickup look. Let me get in here and look. All right, there's some game looks for you. So you can see right here, stem in, half a man. All right, I'll give you this, a better look for you. Stem in. This one we ended up taking. This is a different variation. So this is a way you can work off it. When these guys end up wanting to jump this, you can have another variation of this, which is pretty much just your 4 verts look. So we're sending him. He's still on that protect, that MOR, however you want to say it. Now we're thinking seam. So he's at the boundary, so he can bend it. And we're thinking 2 yards outside the hash with the back still running the same exact bend. So when he stems in on this, pushes up, we're thinking it's the same exact look right here still. And if we get some of these quarter, half or cover 2 things, we'll get some 2-on-1 balls as well. Yeah, let me get you I'll get you a couple. I know we only got a couple minutes left. I'll get you guys a couple from the actual. There we go. See where they start. Perfect. All right. All right, here we go, guys. So you can see based on this look, we're thinking right here. He ends up going. This would become a hot one. We didn't drill hot as much. We didn't run this as much this past year. So this should be a hot look, which would end up, he just would push up, sit down at 5 yards. But the back got wide open on it. That wasn't the best one to start. So here we go. You'll see these guys both are going to expand. So you'll see him here, him here. He's going to stem in, and he's just going to sit down. So this is when you're thinking sit, when both guys expand like that, then north-south, drop step, tight turn. So he sees immediately, he feels this, right? So he feels him go to the back. He feels him expand. Boom, I'm just going to sit. You can see where this guy right here, his name is Trent Cowan. He was back in 2016. He was a really good player where he's going to end up looking and freezing. He's really good with his eyes on these. Take his foot now. He gets this guy to think he's going to run out to him. Boom, okay, stick my foot in the ground, run back in, downhill, find the window. Like, this is the type of guy that he was a converted receiver that you're looking for to run these. Now this one's even different. This is before I was here. I was still a player when this happened. But you can see Stemmen push up, finds a way to get open. He's a bigger guy. You can see he doesn't have as much wiggle. He's going to be more of a pressure break, but does a good job on the pivot catch, tight turn, north-south, get yards after the catch. Right here, takes half a man, gets him to open his hips, and then bam, nobody covers the back. So you get a lot of these. This is why it's just 1-to-1 to 3. So you're not saying, like, he's still probably looking here, but he knows off this alignment or by the game plan, you could know that can go right to the back. Now, if you want to call something to alert the whole shot, there's a way too you can also do where you end up having where you can name it something else, or you can tell them to peek, whatever makes the most sense for you guys, with keeping everybody else the same, but it's telling the quarterback on his progression. But right here, just another one. He feels this guy run out, butts him, just sits down, and it goes to the back. So last clip for you here. This is pretty good here. Stemming in. Now, we'll give you this view. All right. We're going stem in, push up, and just finds a window. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different ways right here to run this thing for you where it can work itself out. You've got a bunch of different options. It's just, you got to win. You got to have a guy who can win. Like, we call this for you, you better win. That would be the coaching point for you. So drill and releases would be, drilling off the line. I wouldn't, once again, if you're getting a team with a bear look, I wouldn't be calling this specifically for, that guy that plays that tight clamp guy on you, to get the ball to him. In terms of receiver wise, you saw we could run it with him compressed down there if you wanted to. These guys can cheat their splits out a little bit too. That's okay. Like, get this thing, get him some more space to work. Make sure he's at outside release, and make sure we're getting to 10 yards here. The big one is getting to depth here. So we need to make sure he's getting to 10. And then him, when I drill this thing, I would usually put a cone at about 11 yards to make sure that these guys aren't cutting it short. So always going past the distance when it's time to go, because we're not counting steps. We need to know our landmark on this. I think I'm about out of time here, guys, for you. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If anybody has any questions or anything, I'll gladly take anything.
Yeah, sounds good, Coach. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good stuff.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
You guys have any questions for Coach? Raise your hand or something.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll still be recruiting Arizona for University of San Diego. So I'll be reaching out. I'll be talking to some of you. I've recognized some familiar faces in here too. So anything you guys need to, you want some more stuff in depth later too, most of you guys have my number. If not, hit me on Twitter at Coach SJ Oliver, and then just drop me a DM and I can get you my number. We can chat, whatever it might be, anything you guys need. So once again, I appreciate it for you guys for tuning in, and anything I can do, let's stay safe, keep washing your hands, and that's all I got. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, make it a great day. We'll be back on this afternoon. Well, if you guys can tune in, I'll be throwing the link up here in a little bit for this afternoon session. Appreciate both coaches that came on today. We're getting a great mix of topics and content and coaches from all over the country. So it's been really, really cool. So appreciate you guys. Go make it a great day, and we'll talk soon. Thank you. See ya.